Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia, and with me tonight we have Brandon.
Hi.
And that's it.
Yeah, no one else wanted to be here.
I know. Apparently.
Technically, I didn't want to be here, but I mean...
Yeah, Memorial Day
What are you gonna do?
I know. Memorial Day plans, but we got this ship covered. A few games to talk about, a little bit of news to talk about, and I guess we'll just get into it. You ready to get started?
Sure, let's do it.
I know. Alright, so, why don't you go first? You got more to talk about.
Okay, so my friend came through for me, like he said he was going to, and got me a copy of The Witcher 3 from his work.
Nice.
Because he didn't want it, but he got the PC version, so I've been playing it on PC.
That's where you'd want to play it anyways, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. He told me it was going to be a PS4 copy though before, so that's why I said, but I got a PC version. No, I'm actually very glad I had the PC version.
Is this the friend that swindled you out of your Steam, codename Steam demo code?
No.
Okay. I was saying, because he still probably has to make up for that, but...
Well, even if that was him, it doesn't matter, because this game is totally fucking worth it. It is really, really, really good. The easiest way I could describe this is... you know how 2011 had Skyrim that you just kind of got lost in as an RPG, and you're just like, what the fuck happened to those 3 days of my life? Yeah, this is 2015 Skyrim. It's not Skyrim, obviously, but it's got like the same staying power where like there's just so much shit to do, and there's so many places to go and see. I mean, like, there are people that are literally trying to sell to the end of the world right now in the game because that's an option. So that's really cool. It's insanely good. Like, the story is good. I didn't really like the story of the second one so much. Like, not really at all. But, like, the story of the third one, it's really, really well put together.
Are these tied together story-wise at all?
Oh, yeah, all of them are. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them. First ties into the second ties into the third. But the third just gives you way more freedom, because, like, the second was kind of just linear. Like, chapter 1, you go here, chapter 2, you go here, this sort of thing. These are all based off of off of books.
Uh-huh.
Like, I think they're Swedish books, but books nonetheless. They're actually very good. From what I've heard, I've never read them. Anyway, so yeah, the second game was kind of like novel format. It was like, this is a chapter, and this is a part of the book. This is a chapter, this is a part of the book. So you, like, jumped around and all that stuff. The third game is completely open world. So, like, although there are still parts where it's like, oh, this is a flashback scene because you were sleeping at a tree and everything, there's still very much, like, just, oh, you see that farm way over there? Off in the distance? Yeah, you can walk to that, and you can go there. And there's people over there that are trying to, like, burn an elf alive inside. Because, like, the game's really dark, and it has to do a lot with racism. Okay. But, like, it's, humans don't like elves at all, and they don't like them to the point where, like, they will burn them alive in their home while they sleep.
Are you an
elf?
So,
like, no, you're a Witcher, and a Witcher's kind of also, one of those things where humans are just like, you fuck that guy, more or less. But, like, you get paid, and they're just like, whatever, fucking scum will take on any kind of thing. Basically, humans are assholes in the game, just in general. And they just don't like things that they don't understand, but they don't like them to the point where it's like they're essentially just lynching elves and people out in the middle of the fucking day. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, you'll walk down the road and you'll see people hung up, you know, just along the side of the road. It's crazy. But yeah, unlike other open world games, such as, say, Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a very good game, it just feels like their open world is kind of like leading you along to the next main quest. Whereas in this game, the open world, like, you could just be walking down the street and then someone's like, hello, Witcher, yes, please, can you help me? And, like, they'll be shouting from somewhere. Or, like I said, you'll run into, like, a house that's completely on fire and see a bunch of bandits outside and find out they're trying to burn someone alive while they were sleeping and that sort of thing. So you have to, like, take on the bandits and then help put out the fire and that sort of thing. It's really neat. It's very engaging. So like, even though there's a ton of space, there's like stuff to actually do in it, and it's not just like walk from point A to point B. There's lots of stuff along the way. Like I've ran into a priest who wanted me to like burn the bodies of people that have died along the road, because it's like bringing out these ghouls that are feasting on them, and like if they eat them, the person's soul can't carry on to like the afterworld, that sort of thing. And that's what they believe. So you have to go along the road in different areas and like burn the bodies of dead people so that like it doesn't draw out these ghouls that want to eat them. And it's really dark, but it's really well done. I mean, it's got like the darkness of like Game of Thrones, that sort of thing. But like, I guess like the fantasy lore, that sort of thing of like Dragon's Age, but it's just much darker, and it's a lot of fun to explore the world. And I've noticed some of the places I've gone to are like making me think of past places I've been at in like the other two games. You could essentially just like read like a catch-up or watch like a catch-up video, so you don't have to play the first two games.
Is the story like that essential from the other games, or is this made to kind of lure new people in?
I feel that it's not like super essential, but it definitely is drawn back on. Like they definitely talk about things that have happened in the past games. Mm-hmm. Like, they'll mention them, but they won't mention them like, hey, you remember that thing? They'll mention them like, you run into someone, and they'll be like, oh, the king was mad, and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, that's talking about the guy in the second game, and so on and so forth. But it's not like, if you start up this game, and you start playing it, and you've never played the other two games, you're gonna slowly get information given to you that was the same information that was given to you in those other two games. So it's not like you're going to be completely lost, but you will be lost for the first little while. But I feel it does a good job of actually easing in newcomers. Like, I feel like it could be its own thing, because it's not a super continuation of like 2, even though it technically leaves off right where the second game left off. But like, it's not done in a way that's like, I guess, reliant. It doesn't like, yeah, it's not super reliant on the, on playing the first and second one. God knows it's definitely not reliant on playing the first one. The first one's really hard to get into and really hard to play in general, because it's only on PC, and it relies heavily on like click-based timing. And you have to like get into a rhythm for like the attacking. It's really dumb. It's really hard to get into it, in my opinion. The second one's a lot easier to do, and you can actually get that one on consoles. But I feel you don't really need to play them. You don't.
So it's
they
not
are
like
going to
Mass
tell
Effect
you stuff about
3 or anything like that.
Oh no, it's definitely not like that. It doesn't like if you haven't played the other two, it doesn't like it isn't kind of like in its own league where it's like, oh, we got our own terminology and we got our own stuff and blah, blah, blah. It explains everything, and there's definitely a startup tutorial that explains the combat and how to use things like the traps, because as a Witcher, your main thing is like trapping people and like, you know, just hunting down things. Like, you have this ability to literally sniff out where something's been by like the branches that are broken. It's very well done too, and like you can see like footprints and stuff that people wouldn't be able to, because they're like so, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Subtle. They're like subtle footprints that normal people wouldn't notice, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But you can, because you're a Witcher, which is essentially like, you're pretty much a bounty hunter. That's what you are. You're a bounty hunter.
Okay.
And there's an overarching plot that revolves around, see, that's the hard part, because that's actually getting confusing for me. And I played the other two games, so I'm like, I'm not really sure what you're going for here. And that's why I think that it doesn't really matter if you play the other two games. You'll get more of the terminology, or you'll understand more of the stuff they talk about from the past, but it's not like needed, like definitely needed. So them releasing this on like the next gen consoles with nothing to like back up the game's existence beforehand, really, it's kind of like its own thing. It still ties into the Witcher story, because the Witcher story is not like a story that's based on an overarching plot that's happening. It's more of like the story of The Witcher, the story of the character you're playing as. So this is just another one of his like escapades, what he's gone on, what he's dealt with throughout his life. And essentially this is like the third book, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But like they could be split up and they could have different characters and all that good stuff. So I like it. I think it's really well done. I think it's well handled, and I think it doesn't make it so newcomers wouldn't want to play it. It's a little bit overwhelming at first, but like it kind of eases you into it. So there's that.
So it doesn't have the crazy difficulty of, say, Bloodborne.
Oh no, definitely not.
Works its way into it.
It's an action RPG through and through. I mean, the only parts that could get confusing is you can actually gather like plants, and you have to gather like specific ones and perform like alchemy to like make potions and that sort of stuff. And you can like make potions to like poison things, and you can like put them on your swords and your weapons and all that stuff to speed up. And basically, instead of having like, oh, this ring makes it so you fire 3 times faster or whatever, you can drink like a potion that you can find the special ingredients around places. And sometimes you also have to get like special ingredients to like draw enemies out of hiding. And you use it for like hunting, you know, like you place them all together, or you make some kind of mismatch of stuff, and the scent like draws out that enemy, and that's why it's kind of called the wild hunt, because you're hunting down things in general. And also there is like, essentially there are these things that are like wraiths, like from Lord of the Rings, that sort of thing, that like the ring wraiths that are after this one character, and you thought this character had kind of vanished, and you're trying to track her down before they do. So that's like the overarching plot of this game. But they introduce you to the character, even though she's not technically in this game yet. Like, they give you like a little introduction stage that introduces to what this character is that you're following. So it's like, you're not completely left in the dark. So I think they do a good job of handling it for newcomers.
Sounds good. So, what is a Witcher exactly? Is it like a witch hunter? Is it a human?
It's kind of like oh goodness. He's kind of got like, he's more of an elf than a human, but he's not, and he's a bounty hunter, and he has the ability to like hunt down things, and what they all say is a witcher will do anything for money. So you're like the guy people turn to when they don't want to get their hands dirty. That sort of thing.
Is there more than one Witcher?
There are, but you're following this Witcher story.
Okay.
Like, I don't recall meeting other specific Witchers or their names, if I do. But, I mean, it's been a long time since I played the second one, so there's that.
And I guess the game's not called The Witchers either.
Yeah.
And, it's just a specific one. I mean, I've heard lots of good things about the game. I mean, a lot of people seem to be saying it's one of the best games that came out this year. And
it's definitely amazing. I don't know if it's better than Bloodborne still, but it's definitely amazing.
Yeah, it definitely benefits, too, from when it came out. There's, like, nothing around it competing for time.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not a game I probably would play, because it's too much for me, but...
it's definitely very overwhelming.
Yeah, I just don't get into those long, kind of drawn-out games. I mean, I say that, and then I get into stuff like Xenoblade, but... I don't know, I think it's the high fantasy stuff, too.
I feel like if you liked Xenoblade, you would like this. I mean, it's not as anime. It's more Western. It's more Game of Thronesy. So,
Well,
like,
see,
if
that's
you
the
like
thing.
Game of Thrones, I feel like you would like
I
this.
still haven't watched Game of Thrones. I haven't even tried. But it's not the anime thing or the lack of anime that is what... It's just, I don't know, high fantasy just doesn't really do it for me, I guess. Like, I feel like I have more of a affinity for sci-fi than I do for, like, elves and dragons and things.
I definitely get that. I understand where you're coming from. I mean, when it comes to, like, movies and stuff, I'm not a major fan of like high fantasy things, but I think it just translates better in video games.
I thought the second Lord of the Rings movie was your favorite movie.
I'm gonna hit you. We've already talked about this.
Oh, multiple times. I know. Oh.
I did actually kind of like the ending of, and it wasn't Lord of the Rings, it was The Hobbit. I did actually kind of like the ending of The Hobbit. I thought it was pretty well done.
Yeah, that seemed to be what a lot of people said. So, sure. I don't know. Are you playing anything else?
Oh, I got a PS TV for $40 because they had a sale on it. So I've played Vanillaware games for the first time. I'd played Odin Sphere before, but that was kind of like a passing like play, like very short amount of time with it. But like I played Dragon Crown and I played Muramasa's Blade Rebirth. Those games are really fucking good. Like, wow.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I actually picked up Muramasa on the Wii, and I never really got too far into it. But I know I had a friend that was addicted to it. Like, he could not stop playing it.
I'm going through my like back catalog of free PS Plus games now, and these are two of them that they gave us for free on PlayStation Plus. So, I've got like a whole bunch more, but I'm waiting for my memory card to come in so I can play Golden Abyss.
What size memory card do you have right now?
None.
None?
None.
So how are you playing it then?
There is a gig of on
like
system
on board
memory. Yep.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that they had that. So, I mean, that's nice at least that you got that.
Yeah, I was actually really upset at first when I like turned it on and I was like, oh no, I don't even have the ability to play. And then I looked through the manual and I was like, the system comes with a gig of on-system memory. And I was like, oh shit, well I just have to install the update, so I bet that's all gone now. No, installing the update didn't like take much of the memory at all. It was just like kilobytes basically to update it. So I still had that full gig and I was like, hell yeah. So I immediately installed Dragon's Crown, which I played for a bit, and I was like, oh, I really like this, but, I mean, I didn't get the system just so I could play one thing. I want to try some other shit out, so I did, and then that's when I installed, I deleted Dragon's Crown, that sort of thing, and installed instead Muramasa's Blade, and I really like how that game is, like, presented. Like, I love the art style. Like, when you go into places that aren't, like, super important, it's just, like, watercolors, and it looks like it's just a background. It's so nice. It's super pretty, too. And, yeah, I'm very happy with this already, and I don't even have the main games I want to play on it, or the ability to play all the games I have yet. Like, I want to play Freedom Wars, I want to play Danganronpa 1 and 2, and Trigger Happy Havoc. I mean, there are a ton of games I want to play. Persona, I looked, and there's actually a shit ton of PSP games that work on this, which is crazy. So,
yeah, I think it works with like most PSP games and most PS1 games, which is pretty nice. I still haven't plugged mine in yet. So there's that. They have what was I just gonna say too? Yeah, Danganronpa is a game that I've been wanting to play for a long time too. I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet, because it's definitely right up my alley.
Probably because it hasn't gone down from $40 yet. It's still like $40. It's ridiculous. I was just like, shit. Yeah, Danganronpa looks so good. And I like watched the anime, and I enjoyed what I watched in the anime, and then I realized this is like ruining the entire game. So I immediately stopped watching the anime.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I heard it's like complete spoilers for the game. So, I mean, there's that, but I've heard it's really good. Like, I've not heard anyone that really has not liked it. I mean, aside from the fact it's not super gamey, it's kind of like another visual novel. But I mean, I love 999, Zero's Last Reward, and those kind of games.
Yeah, it's those kind of visual novels. It's the kind where you actually interact with the game in some way, not just here it is.
Yeah, so those are good. I'm trying to think what other Vita games that I really like, which would be good on there. I do think the Killzone game is really good. Actually, you just got that for PlayStation Plus as well.
Yeah, that was PlayStation Plus too.
Although that one is huge in terms of space it takes up.
4 gigs, I believe.
Yeah.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it is a huge one.
I saw that they had every single Disgaea on there, and I was just like, I need this. I need this. Because Disgaea is, like, easily one of my favorite strategy RPGs. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like, have you ever played the Disgaea games?
I have not.
Ooze, and I mean like ooze character. Like, like for instance, this one. It's like a boss fight, but the boss is like a guy at a show. He's like playing electric guitar up on the stage, and he's got like all these people behind him that are like backup dancers and everything. And like that's the kind of game it is. It's very cartoony. It's very silly and over the top, and like you're able to like hire people that you then train by like and level them up, and then you go and fight like other characters. And it's like grid based, so it's kind of got like a Fire Emblem sort of deal going on there.
Yeah, that
but,
I did
like,
know. Mm-hmm.
But like it's got like ridiculous combos where you can do like over 1 billion damage sometimes, and like every time you do special moves are always super flashy, and it's a really like nice on the eyes kind of game because it's very colorful. Mm-hmm. I've always loved the Disgaea series. I actually went to a convention a few years back and bought the original for PS2, which is very hard to find with it still in its case, its booklet, and all that good stuff. So I was really happy about that. And they have all the way through Disgaea 4 on Vita and PlayStation TV, so I'll have to get those at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something I want to check out at some point. I've never been... Like, I have... Like, my Vita backlog is so huge. Just things I've bought and I haven't played, or have gotten for free and haven't played. Uh-huh. So, I mean, most of my stuff that I've played on there, I like the Uncharted game, which I don't think is compatible with PS.
It is. It is compatible.
Is it?
I've already checked. It states that it's compatible, and it's possible to buy it, but I already own it, and it gives me the option to download it also, so I'm guessing? Question mark? Because I didn't think you could download stuff if it wasn't compatible, right?
I have no clue on that one. I wouldn't be surprised if you go to boot it up and it's like, tough luck, kid. Like, you messed up this time. So, I don't know.
I mean, it was given away for free on PS Plus, so I mean, I didn't do anything.
I didn't think it was.
Yep, Golden Abyss was. It was before Christmas. I think it was in October that they gave it away.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
same with Sly Cooper, so. Thieves in Time.
That I did know that they gave away, and that one is supposed to be really good, and I haven't played that. I did like the other Sly Cooper games quite a bit, though. So, there's that Tearaway. I'm fairly certain will not work on.
Oh yeah, I'm even if it does, I'm sure it would not be fun to play.
Well, so. Yeah, exactly. But you have like the camera stuff. I mean, it really uses the camera, the microphone, stuff that's not going to be built into the Vita TV. So
yeah, exactly. So I mean,
it would if it worked, it'd be passable at best, but it would lose a lot of the charm. So
yeah, that's the way I feel about it too.
Yeah, I mean, there was a rumor floating around that was slated for a summer release, so I'm sure we'll hear more about the PS4 version rather. I'm sure we'll hear more about that coming up next month at E3. That one. I mean, it's been a long time since they've said anything about that. So yeah, that should be good. I don't know. I really don't. There's not a lot of like good exclusives for the Vita. That was like, I think the overall.
I feel like there's a lot if you like anime games. Because I'm looking and they got like Hatsune Miku, they got Hyperdimension Neptunia, that sort of thing. They got like Guilty Gear games redone for Vita. They've got, Final Fantasy X and X2, which I saw for $20 for Vita.
My point was, though, like a lot of those things, though, you can get on other systems.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why would you get it for Vita when you get it for the PS3? Or the Vita TV, rather. I mean, I can understand for the Vita because then you have the portability of it, but like in your case, you have a PS3 and a Vita TV sitting right next to each other. It almost seems
I have a PS4 and a Vita TV sitting next to each other.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah.
That's part of the reason I wanted to play Vita games, and a lot of PS3 games that I missed are also on Vita, so that's part of the reason why we got this.
Yeah, and it does open up the PSP catalog for you, too, so that is pretty nice as well. Because there's some solid stuff there, like Patapon and...
Yep. Oh, Patapon's awesome.
Peace Walker.
Yeah. Oh, is that... Ooh. Now I'm curious, because I haven't looked to see if that's on here. I think it is. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
I think it was. I do remember them making a big deal about it at one point because the HD remake had come out, but it wasn't available for the Vita. but it had like the transferring stuff built in. So I feel like it is. I think they did make a big deal about that to like put it in there. So, but yeah, that's actually a game I would really highly recommend too.
Yeah, because I haven't played Peace Walker, so
I think Peace Walker is one of my favorite ones too.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. I know you would like it too.
I don't see Peace Walker on this list, so it's weird.
I don't know what to tell you there.
Yeah, maybe because there are actually some that there's like an extended list that is online that actually tells you the ones that's like, yeah, you can buy these and just transfer them to the PS Vita TV through like the online like store, and it works perfectly fine because like that's a thing that happens with some of them. Like it just doesn't recognize that it will work, but they do run.
Okay.
So not everything, it's not just everything that says PSTV compatible that's compatible. They're like entire like forums where people are like, oh yeah, I tested this PlayStation 1 classic that's not on the list and it works fine, and there you go. And like sure enough, if you bought the game already and you own it and you go to like your download list, it's on there and you can just click download and it will work. Like I think Silent Hill was one of them. So but yeah, I'm liking that. I'm enjoying that. I had never really, like I said, played any Vanillaware games other than a bit of like Odin Sphere. Yeah, I love the aesthetic of these games, and I love the like styles they have. They each have their own kind of thing, but they still have like an overarching style that they're all kind of put into.
Yeah,
like,
their pixel art is unparalleled.
Mm-hmm. Like, Dragon's Crown is probably one of the better beat-em-ups I've played in the last, I have no idea how many years. Like, probably my favorite beat-em-up before playing Dragon's Crown was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Like, recent beat-em-up, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Dragon's Crown just, like, goes above and beyond that. It's so well done. And I am super happy with that game. So that's cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm finding a lot of things that are worth playing that I probably would have never been able to play otherwise, so very happy about that. There's a lot of JRPGs on the Vita. I mean, a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, that's my thing, so there you go. Plus, I still don't have Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 4 is amazing, so there's that.
I'll play it eventually.
No, you won't. You'll never play Persona.
Probably won't.
It's really disappointing, too, because the games are like legit amazing. They are some of the best JRPGs I've ever played. And I know you love your Xenoblade, but your love for Xenoblade is like my love for Persona.
So you're saying we ranked it too high?
No. No, I mean like the amount that you've mentioned Xenoblade just in general. And you're not like Tom levels of mentioning a game. But you really do.
Nobody's Tom.
You really do like. You really do like Xenoblade. That's cool.
Well, I mean, I just played through it though. I mean, it's a big difference. I mean, it's not like you were just playing through a Persona game. So I mean, I have a lot to talk about.
I'm just playing Persona Q.
Oh well, that one's boring. No one talks about that.
That game's actually really good.
Yeah?
It's just really hard to play it because you have to be able to devote that time. Because like one cutscene could be like 45 minutes, and it's kind of annoying. It's like, okay, where's the gameplay? We'll get to that in like 30 minutes. God damn it.
Dang, nabbit.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing mostly. I've been enjoying checking out the Vita games that I didn't ever get to play before in the past, and then I played some Witcher 3, which for my computer, it's running fairly well. It has some issues. And, I do want to mention this, and we can tie it in the news, but, a bunch of people complained about The Witcher 3's downgrade, because it does kind of have a downgrade from, 2013, and the dev's response was basically, yeah, you're right, but 2013 was more of, like, a proof of concept, and us working with, like, the beta builds and everything. Like, it wasn't downgraded, like, just because. It was mostly downgraded because we didn't know how many computers would be able to take this. We didn't know how many, that sort of stuff. And they're like, so we never planned for, like, the original video that we showed for it to ever look that good.
Mm-hmm.
But then they were like, but you know what? Fuck it. And then, like, for the last 3 days, they've just been releasing patches every single day that adds more graphics options so it can look exactly like the old, like, video. Like, this is their way they're responding to it. Fuck it. Here, if you want it, here you go, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to give people the options if they have the computer to run it. Like,
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm just saying, like, it's a lot better than what Ubisoft did. Ubisoft was just like, go fuck yourself, whatever. Like, when it came to Watch Dogs, and sometimes even, like, wanted to talking about stopping the mod that made it look like it was supposed to in the past not work, and that sort of thing through patches. And then same with Far Cry 4, you know, but, like, the CD Projekt Red's just like, alright, if you want it, here you go. Like, just... and they're like... They're very, I guess, in tune with how gaming works, I guess would be a good way to put it. Because they're like, we don't want to hate mob, we don't want to lynch, we're not going to lie, we're not going to do any of that, we're just going to tell you how it is and then just give you the option. Which is, I could really appreciate.
Oh, I mean, it's nice to see, like, a developer that's very, like, community-focused.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they could just have said, well, we're just not going to do it, and just left it like that, but...
Yep.
To give the community the options, I think it's great. It just shows that they're listening, and it shows that they're willing to, like, help out, like, or, I don't know, meet some middle ground, at least, I guess, on things that people might not like, and I think it's goodwill. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's all I had to say about that. So, I guess we can go on the news if you'd like.
I have my one game.
Sorry. You have the one game. I had scrolled down too far and I didn't see your name, so I didn't think you had anything, so my bad.
No, I just have the one. I finally finished up Yoshi's New Island. So, I don't know. I don't know if I really have a lot to add on this compared to what I said about before, but I know...
Is the gameplay worth playing? Like, in general, like, since you finished it now, like, is the gameplay at least worth checking out if you like the old Yoshi's Island? I know the music isn't, but
the music's horrible, but... I would say, actually, overall, that was the one thing I came out of it. Like, it was a much closer representation to the original than I had expected. I mean, it's definitely, it's leagues better than Yoshi's Island DS. Like, that game was atrocious in some ways. So, this one, I thought was pretty good. I thought it actually was, like, on par with the classic in a lot of different regards. The game is, like, ridiculously easy. I ended with 103 extra lives when I was done. So,
wow.
Yeah, like, if you're, like, the game just gives them to you. And, I mean, that's fine, whatever, it's Nintendo. It also does have, like, the super guide built in where if you die, like, too many times in one level, it'll just be like, hey, do you need help? And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to get this fucking flower. Like, don't bug me. Like, I'm trying to do something risky to get this reward, and you're just driving me crazy now. But, yeah, so, I mean, it has all that stuff built in. It does have secret levels, none of which I bothered to get because I didn't care enough. It has 2 secret levels per world, and each world has 8 stages, and there's 6 worlds overall. So,
okay.
I mean, it's, in terms of content, it's on par with where the Super Nintendo one was. Like I said, the art style is kind of meh. The music's very meh. Although every once in a while, I don't know how, it pulls out a standout track. So, I mean, it's always impressive when it does happen.
Even with the meh-ness of it?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, this is less meh.
Yeah, no, you'll just every once in a while be like, wow, this song's actually kind of good. And then, like, the rest of it just be like, buh. So, yeah, I mean, you have that, but it does, like I said, if you like, my thing with the Yoshi's Island games, I never liked the collectathon-ness of it all. I mean, that's one thing I never really like in games, is collectathons. So I like the platforming aspects of it. I don't like the collectathon, so going through and finding, like, all 20 hidden red coins and the 5 flowers and then the 20 stars, or 30 stars, to get 100% of the level is kind of a bit much. But...
Well, how are you... I mean, I was going to ask, since you don't like that sort of thing, what's your thoughts on ukulele, then?
Well, we talked about this with Donkey Kong 64. I'm not super excited for ukulele. But I'm willing to give it a chance. I mean, It depends. I mean, there's different degrees of collectathons. Like, you have Donkey Kong 64 where it's abusive.
That's right, you said you haven't played Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, I haven't. But you have Donkey Kong 64.
You really need to get a hold of that just to, like, cleanse yourself of Donkey Kong 64.
Maybe. That's it. I don't know. Like that game has put a big old taint on those kind of games for me. But like I was gonna say though, there's definitely different ranges for those type of games. You have Donkey Kong 64, which is abusive and literally punishes you into collecting things, and then you have stuff like Yoshi's Island, where there's a shit ton of collectibles, and they unlock extra stuff, but you don't really have to do it. Like if you just want to platform through it, that's fine.
That's kind of how Banjo-Kazooie is. It's that way. You don't have to super do it. I mean, there's some where it's like, you definitely need to collect this thing or this thing because it will like unlock something that you need for later. But it's not like, all right, now go back and play this stage like 700 times.
The one thing I do have to say about Yoshi's New Island, though, is I did actually genuinely appreciate like the boss battles. I thought they were all pretty fun. Like I thought they did some neat stuff with them. They're pretty clever. I mean, they kind of go back to the similar kind of build up, like the Super Nintendo one, where the bosses at the end of the worlds are all basically giant versions of the monsters that you've been fighting the whole time. And then the halfway through points for the worlds, you fight Kamek in like these different kind of ways. Yeah, and like I said, I thought it worked out pretty well. I did like what they did there. Actually, I always found myself genuinely enjoying those. So that was nice. Also, another surprise was that when you get to the last world, World 6, all of a sudden it just turns on like some super difficulty switch. Like it hits a level that it did not even like approach anywhere else in the game. Like all of a sudden there's like lava everywhere and you're like timed and it's nuts all of a sudden. I think that's, if I had any minor struggle at all in the game, it was with those levels. But I never found it frustrating. I just was kind of like, wow, this is making me work for this game all of a sudden. It's not something I had to do before, so that was there.
But just a big difficulty spike out of nowhere, basically?
Yeah, like I said, compared to the rest of the game, I mean, it's this is not like super difficult by any means, but it is definitely much more difficult.
Kind of like, where the fuck did that come from? Basically, that sort of
exactly.
thing.
Like you don't have any like means to expect the difficulty spike that's there. So when it happens, it's almost shocking. You're just like, what? Where did this come from? The rest of the game's been a cakewalk, and now it's like going from like Kirby's Epic Yarn to like the secret levels in Mario World. It's ridiculous.
Wow, that sounds kind of ridiculous, actually.
Yeah. So, but like I said, it's not quite that hard. But it's almost how it feels, because you go from something that's
it's just jarring, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Like, whoa, what?
And I do appreciate the challenge was there. I don't know. I was just kind of taken aback by it, so it was nice. But overall, I did end up saying to myself, I'm like, wow, this game was actually a lot better than I expected. And aside from like the visual aesthetic and the music, like I honestly don't think it's that far off from the Super Nintendo game. Yeah, it's definitely not the Super Nintendo game. It's definitely not a classic. But for people who are looking for that type of Yoshi game, it's a pretty good fix. People, I think, would like that. Yeah. So, I mean, it didn't blow up reviews when it came out last year, but I honestly think it was probably at least a smidge underrated for what it is. Like I said, it's not blowing up the charts by any means in my mind, but like I said, it's better than I expected it to be, and I think other people might appreciate it as well. So, that's it.
Do you think you treated it too harshly from the beginning?
Like when I started playing it?
Yeah. Like, because you were like, kind of like, oh my god, this game is terrible because of the music, and then you're like, you're like, I don't know, especially since you were coming off of like Donkey Kong, and that's what Donkey Kong Country.
I do remember my words pretty clearly. Like I was like, the game is okay, but the music and the graphics are kind of meh, and but now I would say the game is a little bit better than okay, but the graphics and the music are still meh. I would say it's a good game if you can get past like the odd design choices for the visuals, like in the music. But I mean, those are like the graphics. I think are tolerable, but it's the music that really gets me. It's surprisingly
okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely doable, and I would say I would recommend it at this point. I'd say it's worth trying, especially if we're sitting on Club Nintendo rewards like I was and just needed something to get. So go for it.
That's cool.
So that's all I got game-wise. That's it.
I definitely don't have anything else game-wise. So.
All right. So you ready for news?
We're going to go to news. Yeah, sure.
All right.
Here's news for all of yous.
Yeah.
Moose. I mean, like, I gotta phone it in because there's like no one else here other than us tonight.
I know.
And I'm very tired, so just thought I'd phone it in a little bit. I mean, it's all right?
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. We don't have a lot of news anyways, so we don't really need something super impressive. Like I said, we're just still kind of clearing through the unwanted news before E3 comes out. So, first little bit tidbit: Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon was announced.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was never really into the other ones.
I never really liked the Mystery Dungeon series. It was weird. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting premise. I just didn't like. I don't know. I just didn't like that type of gameplay, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I was just kind of.
It's just not for you. That's all it is.
Yeah, I tried out the first one. And I was kind of like, no, I'm not feeling this, and that was about all I ever went into it. So. Yeah,
no, I really don't like this.
Yeah, but there are people who do. So good for them. I hope they're looking forward to it because it doesn't look like there's much else coming out for the 3DS the rest of this year.
Well, I mean, that we know of.
So
far off. You know, they could easily pull something on us and be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's like 30 new announced 3DS games.
They could. But they could also disappoint us as well. So...
I don't know, they surprised us last year when they were like, oh yeah, 3DS games, here you go. Like, some of them came out of fucking nowhere. Like, they got announced like a week or two before they came out. And then it was like, oh yeah, here they are.
I don't know. I don't remember there being a lot of surprise 3DS announcements last year. Like, I mean, I think they announced the Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright localization at E3. We already knew about Pokemon, though, because that was announced before E3. So I think this...
Oh, no, not at E3, but like from Nintendo Directs, there were quite a few Directs. It was like, here is no 3DS game. And then it was like, and you can pick this up. And it was like in 3 weeks, in 4 weeks, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
like in a month. But we didn't know about some of them that came up. And some of them were indie titles and stuff, but some of them were like also like for instance, leading into this year, but still kind of out of nowhere, other than the rumors, Majora's Mask kind of came out of nowhere.
That's true.
Like, so I mean, they could pull something like that again.
Yeah, I mean, they could. But, I mean, we're talking the difference between, like, a port and a new IP, too. So, and apparently Majora's Mask they'd been sitting on for a while.
But, I mean, there is that rumor still of Paper Mario, the original one, on the 3DS. So that could happen, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
I'd be okay with a port of the Paper Mario games.
They could also make Sticker Star again.
I would cry.
I know.
I'd cry hard.
You know, it's surprising to me. I don't know what it is about that game and the internet, but it just keeps on coming up cyclically where people will be like, is this game good? I like this game. What's wrong with people? It'll be like, you don't know how, you've not played anything in this game. Like, it might start out seeming okay, but then it just trudges into...
mediocrity.
Yeah, beyond mediocrity. Like, way below that. You know, I'll be honest though, there's like some small part of me that keeps on thinking they want to pick it up again and try it and just plow through the rest of it.
And you tell that part to shut up, please. That's never going to happen. I hope not.
No, it's going to happen.
Go back to sleep. You smack them.
I know it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. It is going to happen. And I'm going to have to finally be like, Tom, I told you this game is horrible because it's still horrible. So, so there's that. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what's coming out later this year. I mean, we'll probably get... I bet Nintendo will announce a bunch of localized stuff.
I mean, not Nintendo, but Dark Dreams Don't Die has a PC version coming out in like 2 weeks, and that came out of fucking nowhere. So D4, you know, the Xbox One exclusive.
Oh yeah, I know. We talked about this, so we're all super excited for this. So it's good.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
That came out of nowhere. Honestly, I think they're gonna have a lot more announcements like that, where it's like games from other consoles being like, oh yeah, and then this is on this now, and this is on that now, and this is gonna be here. Because a lot of people are jumping ship from the Xbox One. Like, nothing against the Xbox One, because it actually has quite a few games I want, and I'll probably end up getting one. But still, it's like, damn, you know.
You know, I had a friend ask me yesterday, like, what Xbox One games I have, and if he was going to get an Xbox One, like, which games would I recommend? And he's like, I know Sunset Overdrive because you love that game. And I was like, yep, that's a good one. He's like, what else? He's like, there's that game with the crazy hot dog eating thing, and I'm like, oh, yep, D4, yep, that one's a good one too.
D4 is really good. Yeah.
So that's good. But I was like, it's coming out on PC. He's like, well, I'm just focusing on Xbox One right now. I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, what else? He's like, I'm gonna get Halo Collection, of course, because Halo. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, what else do you have? I'm like, I don't have anything else. I mean, I have Fantasia. I don't think he'd like that, but otherwise, I mean, it's between having both systems. He already had a PS4. It's hard to recommend it, but I mean, Tomb Raider's going to come out later this year. That will be nice. I mean, maybe Crackdown will be worthwhile.
Crackdown was fantastic. I love the Crackdown series.
Yeah, so
I'm hoping they don't screw that up.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a game we'll see more of at E3. I honestly, I have a lot of faith in Microsoft this year going to E3. I think that they have a lot of stuff in their back pocket ready to go.
I personally believe that they'll probably do the best this year. So I already just like it's between them and Nintendo. I have like zero faith in Sony right now because I mean, what have they given us to go on? Like more or less. Like there's the Bloodborne expansion. That's exciting.
Yeah,
I would like to see that
is the next piece of news that I had. That is the Bloodborne expansion is coming this year. So we do have that.
That would be a nice announcement because Bloodborne was a fantastic game. I'm still torn between that and Witcher 3 being the best game I've played this year, but I have finished Bloodborne, so I do know how that ends, and I haven't finished Witcher 3 yet because it's just so overwhelming. There's so much stuff to do.
Although there is one PS4 game that I believe is going to come out this year that I'm still really excited for, and the name escapes me now. And it's the survival horror kind of movie-ish.
I didn't think that was this year. I thought that got pushed back again indefinitely.
No, not that I heard of. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about. The horror movie where you're always running from that person.
Yeah.
Like the axe murderer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's almost like Heavy Rain-esque.
Yeah, it's very Heavy Rain-esque. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just can't remember the fucking name of the game. I mean, we got Dragon Quest Heroes also coming out. That's kind of cool.
Is that confirmed for the U.S.? I haven't really followed.
Oh, yeah, that's got a U.S. confirmation. It's just Dynasty Warriors with Dragon Quest.
Hey, I mean, it worked out well for Zelda, so...
Until Dawn, that's the game you were
There we go, Until Dawn, yeah. I want that game so much. That game I'm, like, ridiculously excited for. So, Until Dawn... But I think that's the only major Sony release that I can think of that I'm excited for that's announced for this year. So...
I mean, that doesn't have an announced date for this year still. It's TBA right now, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right on that. I think I'm just going up with the assumption that because of how long it's been in development, it makes sense that it would be this year, but you're right. We don't know for sure. But
that's very true.
I feel like that is one that we'll likely see at E3 as well. So...
I know one we'll see at E3 for sure, but I don't give a shit about...
Last Guardian?
No, that'll never happen. No, God of War 3 Remastered.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares? It's stupid to remaster that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just found a lot of new PS4 games coming out that I did not know actually were being released. Legend of K Anniversary Edition. That is like an old school PS2/GameCube game. The fuck?
Who knew? I mean, I guess it just continues the port of remakes and remasters.
On a Chambra Z2 Chaos.
I don't know, but speaking of things that aren't going to be at E3, Iwata is confirmed to not be at E3 this year. Yeah.
Why?
That is a lot of the speculation right now. I mean, they haven't said why, so you don't know, but there's a lot of people that are like, does this mean Iwata's stepping down or planning to step down? Because if he is, it's one of those things you don't really want him on the spotlight kind of thing. Is it health related? They just had a good uptick in stocks.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was health related. That was my thought.
And so, maybe they're like, we don't want to come back and say for 2 years in a row that Iwata is still feeling ill and can't go to E3. So there's that speculation. I mean, there's also the possibility that without him there last year, things ran smoothly enough that they just were like, man, we don't really need to spend the money on this. We could use it more at home and just leave things as they are. So,
you don't really know, huh?
Yeah, no, nobody knows. So, but I mean, with the digital event, it's not like you really need him in the spotlight. Like, he's not going to be like there for interviews and stuff anyways. So I mean, you have that, and you have the Treehouse stuff carrying a lot of the quality content through. So that's good. But he would be good to speak to, I'm sure. Like, I mean, all the games industry's there. Like, it's probably one of the few events where like the entire game industry shows up to, and so that's good to schmooze and get deals worked out and different things. And
yeah, I mean, it's odd. It's an odd choice, I guess, but yeah, I understand it. I'm looking at the Xbox One like exclusive games compared to like PS4. There's a lot more Xbox One exclusives coming out this year than there are PS4.
That Microsoft's really been digging in, and I think that's part of the reason why I think it was the April MPDs. They actually were the top selling console in April.
I think it's gonna be another case of like, you want your JRPGs, you go to PlayStation. You want your, if you want your more like casual / like normal games, Xbox is the way to go. Unless it's like a Surrey game, the D4 guy, because that guy is completely insane. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah. So I mean, that is definitely a possibility. I mean, I know we've talked about it a lot of times too. It's kind of hard to see why the PlayStation 4 is selling so well when there's such a lack of software at the moment too. But I think a lot of people are buying into the promise. Like, this is where you've been promised that you're going to get the best games in next generation.
I think it's a hipster reason, and I'll explain why. There's so many Xbox One games that run at like 900p or like less, especially when it first started coming out, and people were like, PS4's got that 1080p, I'm gonna fucking sign on for that. They got those 60 frames, I'm gonna sign on for that. And I think like a lot of people just jump ship to that sort of thing, and like the people that are left with Xbox Ones are like the brand loyal kind of people.
Well, yeah, and you had all the fallout from the initial Xbox One announcement too, where they announced like,
and there's still some people that don't fully know that, that's not a thing. So it's like, okay,
exactly, and it's hard for those people to get the message too again, because it's not like the major media outlets are all reporting on it still. That message, that boat has sailed, so they kind of just have to rely on word of mouth at this point. That's all they have. So. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. So yeah, I don't know. Any other E3 things to talk about, I guess?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I can't really think of anything.
All right, last little news bit to talk about, I guess, I feel like it's worth mentioning, is the Dennis Dyack interview with Niche Gamer, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you read through it?
I haven't got a chance to read through it. I've been very busy.
Yeah.
Like, super busy since it came out.
I got to skip through bits of it. I thought it was a pretty good read. I mean, he talks a lot about his...
I did see a bit of the Go Nintendo one, though, that was recently put out, where, like, they essentially were just like, so what's going on with Shadows of the Eternal? He's like, it's still happening. I just can't really talk about it right now. And they're like, can we expect more information in the coming, months and stuff? He's like, that depends on what your definition of, like, coming months.
I think it was, can we expect more information soon? And
soon, yeah, that's like, it. That's it.
What's your definition of soon?
Soon, there we go. Yeah, that's the one.
So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to see that it's still on the back burner. I mean, who knows when we'll hear more about that. So, that's exciting to hear about. I mean, the other things of the interview,
it seems like it's just on the back burner for public. They're still working away at it hard, but, like, they just don't want to present anything yet. So, that's what it seemed like from the way the interview was handled that I read.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. It's. I mean, I'm sure it's a property that they're still focused on right at the moment, but it's not. It doesn't seem like it's in like full swing development. Like it's not. No. Yeah, exactly. So,
but it's also not in developmental hell currently, like a lot of other titles are. Hellraid got put on hold. It was a big RPG that was supposed to come out this year, and it's been pushed back the day before it's supposed to come out every day this year, because it's supposed to have already released 3 times this year. It's been pushed back for like TBA every single time, and this last time it was pushed back, they were like, yeah, we don't know when that's going to actually come out now, so stop waiting on it.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, which is kind of nice. Why, which is probably what Dennis is waiting for. The time where he's going to bring the game back is when he can announce, an actual time frame for it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a much better idea, in my opinion, than, like, just saying something and not meeting that, because I feel that would give a kind of, like, a bad outlook on you if you, like, couldn't meet what you originally said. So, I mean, it's a much smarter idea, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a lot to work out right now, like, you know, the new company and, you know, what focus they want to take on the movies and TV show aspects of everything. They have a lot to coordinate, and it doesn't make sense to unveil that stuff until it's all coordinated. So, yeah, I mean, that would be exciting. The one thing with the interview, too, that I did like that they talked about as well was the fact Dennis actually went into more detail about what happened with X-Men Destiny and kind of that whole fallout. And I think one of the interesting aspects that he talked about was that something that nobody ever really reported on when they were talking about the story initially was that when that game was in development, that was when the whole Marvel acquisition from Disney was going on. So
that makes a ton of sense, too.
Yeah, it really does, because it said it put, you know, basically the contracts had to be looked at again, and, you know, they were on hold for money, and they were expecting it to come through, and they were funding it themselves, and the fact, too, and, you know, a lot of people were like, why didn't everyone at the company know? Well, this isn't something you tell everyone at the company. You know, A, you don't want them to worry, but B, it's also not stuff that you just want the general press to know either, like the general public. So, I mean,
because if that stuff, like, leaked out, that would have been bad, because we didn't find out about that for, like, a while, you know?
Yeah, exactly, and that's not just even stuff with, say, Silicon Knights. I mean, that involves Disney and Marvel and Activision, and there was a lot of players in that. So, I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
big players in that, because Disney's huge.
Yeah, Disney's huge, and Dennis even points out, too, that Activision and Disney were competitors. I mean, they both had... they were both moving in on the game space. I mean, Activision obviously was there, but Disney had been making a bigger presence in games at some point. And so now you basically have a company that has a vested interest in what's going on, that makes their own games, and that does throw things off a bit, too. So that definitely, not that we ever doubted Dennis anyways, but that definitely gave more backstory to the allegations.
A better explanation.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything that was going on.
Yeah.
I actually have a bit of news myself. I forgot about this one. I saw it this morning and almost forgot about it. If you pre-ordered Hatred from the developer's website, you actually get to play it this weekend. They're giving it to people early if they bought it directly from the developer. So that's kind of cool. Hatred's official release date is June 1st, so that's finally going to be coming out. And, yeah, I thought it was neat that they're like, hey, if you bought it through us, you can play it, like, 3-4 days early. Fuck it. So that's cool.
That is pretty nice.
Also, Xseed, Sega, and a few other companies are jumping ship onto Steam. So, like, a few popular Dreamcast games, we don't know all of them. One of them is Grandia 2, though. Will be making their way to PC very, very soon. So that's kind of cool. There are also a few other games in the like Xseed library, such as Akiba Trip that I've talked about before that I've wanted to play. That's a PlayStation Vita and PS4 as well as PS3 game. That's actually coming out in like 14 hours on Steam. So that's kind of cool. They're bringing more niche titles to PC. So that's... I'm like D4, Akiba's Trip, Grandia 2, because you know JRPGs are kind of niche nowadays, and yeah, I'm super happy to be seeing a lot of these games making it to PC now. So yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty nice. Actually, another side detour on news. Did you try the Splatoon event this Saturday?
I could not because I had work.
Oh.
And I had to get ready. Yeah, I'm working now. I got the job and I already started. I started on Friday.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently it was a horrible first hour of the event. So,
that's depressing.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't able to play it too. I just kind of saw that my Twitter feed blew up with people who couldn't play it because apparently the servers just crapped out and wouldn't let anyone play.
That sucks because they were working so well the first 3 events.
I know.
Surprise.
So this one, they're horrible for an hour, and then they decided to extend the event for another hour, and they got it all sorted out with that last hour. So,
I mean, that's pretty quick to come back from something if it was that substantial, like you state. Like, fixing everything in an hour, that's no small task. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the issue was, but I mean, I guess that's why they have beta tests for those kind of things. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so
hopefully that'll teach them what they need to know, and they'll have it ready for when the game releases this week, right?
Yeah, exactly. I put my pre-order in yesterday, so
I'm just gonna buy it digitally, like the day it comes out, and just load it.
Well, you can preload it now.
Yeah, when I say like the day it comes out, I mean like I'll probably buy it that morning and then like load it while I'm sleeping and then play it when I get home or something. Actually, what day does that release? That releases on a Friday. Yeah, I'll play it when I get home, maybe.
So yeah, it looks like it will be fun though. I'm excited. I hope that I mean I still keep on hearing that single player is actually like surprisingly decent, so that makes me excited. And, I mean, I do want to try more of the multiplayer. I think it'll be fun, especially with the more stuff they add. I think my biggest caveat with this game is I'm not sure if it's going to be able to hold my attention that long. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
Because you're not really multiplayer focused.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I see the multiplayer stuff, and I'm like, ooh, this is going to have me for a while. I at least hope, because it looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, you say that a lot, though. It ends up not being true. So.
I know. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping. That's why I said I'm hoping.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I guess we'll find out soon enough. I mean, that we'll be talking about that on the next podcast. So, all right. Anything else to talk about before we wrap up?
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing.
Well then, thank you everyone for listening to us this week. We appreciate you hanging out with us. This very casual, intimate conversation with me and Brandon.
Yeah, just back and forth with me and Mike.
Yeah. So we got that. We'll be back to full form next week. So that will be good. We also, don't forget, you can check us out on iTunes, on Stitcher, or on the website doublegaming.com. Episodes are still being posted up to YouTube. Don't forget to leave us a review. Share the podcast with a friend. That really helps out. I mean, reviews do a lot, too. It helps get the podcast sorted to more people that might be interested in it, which is great.
Yeah. If we get enough reviews, we can show up on the... thing, right?
On the thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I just sentences.
Yeah, we'll be on the thing, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
And then don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook or on Twitter at GMECRUNCH. And do you have anything to send out on?
Nah, I want to sleep, but I can't. This sucks.
And I guess too, special thanks again for Samus for the awesome theme song that he gave us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Or wait. Thanks again for Samus for the awesome logo.
Everything.
Thank you, and Loyalist for the awesome theme song that he gave us.
Yes.
There we go. That's the right order.
That is the one we were trying to say,
yes.
And that is the one my brain didn't go to. I didn't even catch it when you said it. I was like,
I didn't even realize it right away either. And I'm just like, oh yeah. And I'm like, wait. That's not right.
Thank you to the awesome people for giving us awesome stuff.
Yes.
Awesomely.
That is the awesome stuff. So, thank you, and with that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. You can check me out on the internet. I am Clash of Penguin on Twitter or your favorite gaming consoles. And until next week, game on.
Game on. These Etsy shop crystal Pokeballs look so fucking cool.
I saw those earlier.
They're so gonna get shut down. They're so gonna get shut down.
I wish they had like dancing flames inside them because that would be so cool too.
Wait, did you not see the Charizard one?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, that shit's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But these people are gonna get shut down, especially now that apparently Kotaku made a post about them Like, that's gonna have people fucking... Yeah.
I don't know. It's possible, but Nintendo kind of takes there's a lot of cool stuff on Etsy that's Nintendo related, and they don't seem to shut that stuff down, so...
Maybe.
I mean, I got those really cool cookie cutters from Etsy, like the Mario and Luigi and Toad ones a couple of years ago, and that store's still open. I mean, they're still selling tons of like Nintendo stuff on there. So, yeah, that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it will. I mean, who knows? Nintendo is kind of weird sometimes, but it's not like they're competing with them directly. And I mean, you have stuff like Fangamer that's been going around, and
they are some money. I just found out the actual price of them. Holy shit!
I mean, I just Googled up Nintendo on Etsy, and there's just such really cool stuff on there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, essentially these Pokeballs, it's listed as $99,999, but all over the page it says, this is not the real price, this is not the real price, this is not the real price, this is to discourage more people from placing orders since we are currently sold out, and they're really like $80. So still, that's quite a bit of money. Yeah. But, I mean, these things are really cool.
There are people just straight up selling games on Etsy, too.
Really? I gotta see this. I'm typing in Nintendo.
At least it looks like it. Yeah, retro Nintendo game, Wario Blast, Game Boy.
Earthbound.
There's Earthbound Soap. I just saw that.
Earthbound Uncut for Super Nintendo SNES. $45 plus shipping and handling.
Nintendo custom controller copy cable. I saw the GoldenEye watch. That was really cool looking.
Oh, this is a version of Earthbound that has everything that was cut from the North American release translated back into English.
Mm-hmm.
And put back in. Crosses are back in the churches. Restaurants are now changed back to bars, as they were originally intended. Oh, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, there's decent. I like that question mark lamp. Like, that's $60 or something. That looks really cool.
Oh, yeah, that is nice. I like it. Ooh, that custom Pokemon GameCube. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, the GoldenEye James Bond watch for $31.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. That's rad.
That's amazing.
It looks great. And it's cheap, too.
Yeah, some of these are really fucking cool.
Cool looking t-shirts.
I like the Earthbound soap. That's actually really neat. Another Earthbound Uncut. I like the labels. That's actually a really neat idea. N64 cartridge spine top in labels. So if you don't have the boxes, that's cool. I like it.
Oh, that's a neat idea. Yeah, I can see those there. I just see them right now. They look really nice.
Mm-hmm. I like them.
Zelda Bug.
Custom Pokemon cartridges. The Narc video game. Custom GameCube. Original Game Boy Advances. Oh my god, that Moogle 3DS case. I love it.
Ew.
Mother 1 and 2 cartridge for Game Boy Advance.
Custom Kirby Super Nintendo looks pretty cool.
Worms for Game Boy.
A Fire Emblem Ike plushie.
The Nintendo Ring, that's the Legend of Zelda cartridge.
Scary Kirby earrings.
What?
These earrings are terrifying looking.
They're probably on the next page. I'm gonna check. Oh my god, the Animal Crossing figure. It's adorable. I love it. Blood splattered GameCube.
There's a lot of those, like, Earthbound uncuts on this.
I noticed. There's Mother 2 cartridge for Game Boy Advance. Oh my god, those earrings are scary.
Yeah.